Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is kind of patriotic. Even more than that series I'm doing about my country's history. Link will be in places. As you may or may not know, I am from Belgium, which is a teensy little country between France and Germany. And one of the things we are world famous for, at least in our own minds, is our Belgian fries. Or as everyone else calls them, French fries. Now, I am aware that this is something unimportant, and that it is ridiculous to get worked up about this, but it annoys me so much. Fries are just so quintessentially Belgian that we actually have these little cabins all over the place dedicated to making fries. The city where I live alone has like 20 of those, and it's not a very big city. We have a museum dedicated to fries. True story. It's in Bruges, look it up. Fries are deeply ingrained in the Belgian identity, as far as there is such a thing, of course. The French eat snails, for crying out loud. How did they get the claim fries? Well, today I research. I want to know how fries got associated with France, and how justified my anger actually is. I might end up eating my words, and I prefer eating fries. So, where do we begin? Let's start in Peru, because that's where the potato began. It is where the earliest archaeological finding of a potato was found, dating back to around 2500 BCE. They became particularly important to the people living in the so-called Altiplano, which is like a plateau area in Peru, and it became one of the main sources of nutrition for the Incans. Those guys you always confuse with the Aztecs and the Mayans. That's just me. So basically, potatoes became an important plant all over the American continent, before it was actually called the American continent, because Amerigo Vespucci didn't know it existed yet. And then Columbus came along, and that led to a plethora of European tourists coming to the Americas. And one of the many things they did was to take the potato to Europe. Sources tell us that the potato arrived in Antwerp in 1567. So Belgian fries confirmed? Not so fast. Because we are not talking about fries yet. We're talking about potatoes. And while those are admittedly the fundamental component of fries, it takes a bit more to actually make it a fry. Like, frying it. In fact, the real true Belgian fry is actually fried twice. So we'll have to dig a little deeper. One explanation I've seen in several places is that the name originated in the First World War, or the Second. Reports vary. So during the war, British, American and Canadian troops were stationed in Belgium, and they saw people eating fries. And because they heard people around them speaking French, because obviously they were in the French-speaking part of Belgium, they decided to call the dish French fries. I guess Wallonian fries was too difficult. But even if that story is true, it only explains where the name comes from, not where the fry itself comes from. Which is kinda the question we're asking. I'm asking anyway. It's very possible that it was invented in France, and that it then came to Belgium, where the Anglo-Saxons picked it up. Another explanation I've seen is that it refers to the way of cutting the fries into these long matchsticks, which is apparently called French cutting. In that case, the name would be justified, though a bit misleading. But I can't seem to verify whether or not that is even true. And if it is, it still begs the question, which came first? Maybe the way of cutting is named after the fries. So where do they actually come from? One origin story says that the origins of the fry lie in the city of Namen, Namur, by the moose, which is not a reference to the animal, It's just a river. In fact, I think it's supposed to be pronounced Meuse, but that's not as funny, is it? Now, the people there supposedly liked to fry fish. But then one winter in 1680, the river froze solid, and they couldn't catch the fish, so they decided to fry potatoes. I mean, it's unorthodox, but I guess we shouldn't be surprised that at least one cook was crazy enough to just give it a shot. So I guess it's plausible? Except that that region didn't actually have potatoes until 1735. And that fat was so expensive that they probably wouldn't be wasting it on frying potatoes. So that one is probably not very true, meaning we have to look further. The origin story that the French like to claim is that the fry started on the Pont Neuf in Paris, where it was sold by street vendors. It's a little more prosaic, to be fair, so it might very well be true. But what I'm wondering is, where's the evidence? And how are we sure that this is really fries as we know them, as they are supposed to be made? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But as far as I can see, the only real evidence for this is that it is no stretch of the imagination. So why not? Which is not only dubious at best, but let's be honest, the Belgian origin story gets to say the exact same thing. So let's just disregard these stories as apocryphal, yes, that's a sentence I just said, and dig a little deeper. The difficulty with researching this is that it's hard to know if we're actually talking about fries or just baked potatoes. So we're gonna have to find some evidence of not just baked potatoes, but potatoes that are undeniably fried, the way we understand it now. The first description we get of fries being fried the way that our fries are supposed to be fried, that was a lot of fries, appears in the Traité d'économie domestique et d'hygiène from 1920 by Louisa Mathieu, and it was published in Liège, Belgium. It is admittedly rather late, and it is almost impossible that the fry wasn't fried this way before that. But if that is the case, it has not been recorded. Mind you, there are several descriptions of baking potatoes before that, and that idea does seem to have originated in France. But they all lack that one extra step that makes it the real fry, as we know it. Louisa's recipe does have that step. So, does that mean fries are Belgian? Well, based on the evidence, strictly speaking, that has to be our conclusion. However, it does seem like the idea of baking potatoes in fat, what you might call frying, originated in France, and that the double bake method, which distinguishes the real fry, is a Belgian innovation. So I guess we're kinda arguing semantics. Does the single bake method count as frying? Can we call those baked potatoes fries or proto-fries? Do those proto-fries mean that France gets to claim the fry? Is the name French fry a correct name then? Should we change it? Am I asking too many rhetorical questions? So let me know what you think in the comments down below. As much as I hate it, I must admit that all this has made me more accepting of the term French fries. And maybe it doesn't really matter what adjective they get. Maybe we should just remove it altogether. Just call them fries and be done with it. Or is that like a very dumb idea for a very good reason that I don't know about? Let me know down below. Yeah, I think it's about time to wrap this up. Which means it's time for the YouTube thing. If you have any corrections or additions to anything I've just said, leave a comment. If you liked the video, why not let me know by clicking the like button below. It's that little thumbs up icon next to the thumbs down. If you like this sort of content, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to ring that bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Should be every Saturday morning, but still. And why don't you go check out the rest of my videos, because there's plenty more where this came from. And in the description below, you can find some links to my social media where you can go follow me. That must have been the longest YouTube thing I've ever done. So yeah, thanks for watching.